Facebook, the final frontier. Maybe. Maybe not. We have rules around here, right? We can't use Facebook for business because I have my personal connections on Facebook. I have kids, I have friends, I have family, people I went to high school with. And Facebook is for personal use. It's not for business. Oh, but wait, then we've got Facebook pages, right? And that's for business. And then I spend most of my day every day, at least 8 hours, oftentimes much more, in my business, doing what I do, doing what I love to do every day. And during those hours, the people I'm mostly interacting with are those people that I do business with. And those people are all on Facebook all day. In fact, that's what I had noticed a while back, is that I observed my own behavior and I said, okay, LinkedIn, yeah, I get it. It's the professional network and I love LinkedIn and I have my own way of generating leads through LinkedIn, and it's a little different than any other social network, but that's another blog post and video for another day. But the point I'm making here is that I noticed that my own behavior on a site like LinkedIn, and I believe lots of others probably follow suit here, is that I'd go in there, I'd do something, maybe I'd go into a group, answer some questions, maybe post a question, spend a certain amount of time there, a finite amount of time, and then I'd leave. And when I leave LinkedIn, I close the browser tab. I don't stay there. Facebook, by contrast, I tend to open it up and leave it open. Even if I'm doing something else, I have Facebook open. And then I hear that notification noise in the background, and I say, oh, somebody commented or liked or did something, or somebody engaged with me on Facebook, and guess what that does is that clues me in, and it's sometimes hard to ignore, to the point where in order to stay focused, sometimes I actually have to make a conscious effort to shut that off. But even then, I noticed that my own behavior is that as soon as I'm finished with whatever it is that I wanted to be focused on, almost without thinking about it, unconsciously, my next thought is to open up Facebook and see what's going on. Why? Because that's where everybody lives. That's where everybody's hanging out. So why on earth would I prevent myself from the incredible opportunities that lie before me by saying I'm not going to interact with people on Facebook for business purposes, or I'm not going to friend people? And I do understand the concerns that some people have with respect to their privacy, and I do respect that, but I believe also that there's ways of dealing with that. For one thing, yes, you can create a profile on Facebook that you use for business purposes, right? And use that as your kind of business, and then keep your personal separate. My feeling personally is that it's all blended together. It's all the same. My life includes what I do for a living. It's a big part of my life. It's who I am. You know, what I do is a big part of who I am. It's why I spend all day, every day in it and doing it. So you can certainly set your privacy settings, as I've done, to only make things available to people who are friends with me, essentially. My posts, when I post on my own wall, for example, by default are set to be friends only, right? My friends accept restricted, and I can get into another video on how to use these settings on Facebook another time. The point is, that's where everything goes by default, so anybody who's not a friend of mine is only going to see what I've shared publicly, which is next to nothing, right? So you can set your privacy settings on Facebook so that until you've friended somebody, they can't see what you're posting. They can't see your personal stuff. In theory, what you do is, in a group like we have here with accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners, or ABO, here we interact with people. You start to develop those relationships, and hopefully by the time you've friend requested them or they friend requested you, it's because you've developed some trust in them. It's because you've formed a relationship with them and you've determined that they're normal and not stalking and dangerous kind of people, right? Otherwise, you might want to question what you're doing in a group if you're meeting the kind of people who are scary in some way. So that's my point. Now, then you can go a step further if you really want to, and I've played around with this a little bit on my own end, where you can create your list. So over here, if I go to friends, I'm going to show you. This is my personal stuff. So I have all these lists. I have a list for just my friends at T-Sheets, and that's useful to me because sometimes I might just want to say, hey, what's going on with my friends at T-Sheets? I've got all of 3 people in there right now because, like I said, I've played with this. I don't really spend a lot of time here. But I can group people based on how I know them. And when I post, I can post based on that too if I want to. I rarely ever do. But for example, I have this group of childhood friends, right? And it's just that. It's all the friends that I have since childhood. So if I wanted to post something that I felt was sort of very personal and I didn't want the whole world to see, then all I have to do is go to create a post and say, you know what? I'm just going to show this to my childhood friends, which is here. As soon as I choose this and I post this, only people on that list will see what I've posted. So even if you've made friend requests or if you become friends with people on Facebook and you want to keep personal stuff personal, there's still a way to do it, and it's not that hard. Just spend some time playing around, create your lists, group people in those lists, and that way you can be specific as to who sees what, even amongst your existing friends. And that, my friends, is my 2 cents for now on using Facebook. So use Facebook, connect with people for business purposes, and get out there and start going where your audience is, because the people you want to work with, your potential customers, better yet, the people who can potentially refer your potential customers to you, they're on Facebook. They're hanging out there. So do yourself a favor, do me a favor. Don't limit your opportunities by saying I'm only going to be friends with people that I actually know in real life. Make friends with them online, and then you'll go meet them in real life at a conference or when they're coming into town. Case in point, and I'll end with this. I've got a friend on here who I'm not going to mention by name because I am going to respect his privacy. I've only known him online. I've known him for probably 5 years now. And he happens to be, he's from another country, and he happens to be in the United States as of the moment I'm recording this. I'm recording this on a Friday. This coming Sunday, he's going to be passing through Los Angeles on his way down to Anaheim to go to Disneyland. And I'm going to meet him for the first time in person. If I had that policy that I'm not going to accept a friend request from somebody because I've never met them in person already, well, then my world would be kind of limited, wouldn't it? So now I'm getting to meet him in person. I'm going to post pictures, and, you know, that's going to probably go on Facebook. But the point is, my world gets so much bigger, and that opens up so many more opportunities when I consider that meeting somebody online isn't a terrible thing. It's actually a good thing. Meet them online. Accept their friend request after you've maybe had some dialogue with them in a group like ours, and made that determination that they're not a creep, right? You can accept those friend requests, become friends with them, and then you get to meet them in person, and that just deepens the relationship. It makes it so much more meaningful. So as always, I invite you to post your comments, questions, especially on a topic like this. I would love to hear your concerns. I would love to address them, answer your questions, and let's get this conversation going, because I think it's an important one, especially as we go more and more into the future, and the way everything about the way we do things is constantly changing. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the web.